Hey everybody. Alright, so it is part one of the Q&A. You guys had so many questions and I want to be able to answer them very thoroughly. So I'm going to make two parts to this video. So this is part one. Alright, first question is, how do you deal with being misgendered? I'm actually really terrible at telling people, correcting people. So usually the group that I'm with, like my friends, all know to correct somebody if they screw up. It usually only happens like when I go out to dinner, because sitting gives me away, because then it sort of makes like my chest more, I don't know, I'm trying to make my chest as out as possible. But it, like, makes that more noticeable, I guess. And then that coupled with, like, my voice, used to give me away a lot. So, my girlfriend is pretty good at, like, making them feel awkward, I guess. She'll say, oh, my boyfriend would like blah, 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 blah. You know, so she'll sort of take the lead on that. If it's somebody that I know and that they just randomly screw up, like that happens occasionally, I'll get pretty sassy with them and say, you mean he, right? And they're like, oh god, I'm so sorry. Like, and then they typically don't screw it up again. But anyways, I'm terrible at correcting people, so other people generally do it for me, which is handy. Okay, question 2. Where do you hope to be a year from now, both physically and emotionally? This is a tough question. I would love to be a skinny, buff, bearded man a year from now. That's where I would love to be. Where I think I'll actually be is very emotionally aware and very emotionally in tune. And starting my physical transformation. For those of you that don't know, I am 326 pounds, and I started off at 354 pounds about a year ago, so I've lost some weight, but it hasn't been at the rate that I want to, and that has to do with having thyroid issues that I didn't know that I had up until recently. But I am mostly working on emotional stuff, on how things affect me and how I react to them and how much alone time I need and how to emotionally handle all the crap that I have to do in a week. So I'm working a lot on emotions and figuring out how to go through life emotionally. And I think the physical side will come a little bit later than I want it to. I want to be able to work on it all right now and have it all perfect in a year. I just don't think that that's actually going to happen. So, I hope that answered your question. What are your future plans for surgeries? I've already had a hysterectomy. I do plan on having top surgery, but my goals for that, I need to lose 50 pounds before I make an appointment to see a doctor, and then I need to lose 50 more pounds before I have surgery. At minimum 75 pounds. And that is a goal that I've set for myself so that I can actually live through the surgery and enjoy my life, because I do not want to die. Also, I do plan on having bottom surgery, but again, I'm going to need to be a lot skinnier for that, and that costs money, a lot of it, so that'll be way in the future. Are you in school, and what are you studying? Yes, I am in school for the 100th year in a row, and I am studying vocal music performance. And next question. What state do you live in? I live in the northern part of Louisiana, which is considered like the buckle of the Bible Belt. So if that gives you any clues to how conservative of state I live in. How did you know you were trans / when did you know you were trans? It was about when I was 21 and I'm 25. So that was about 4 years ago. I'm almost 26. Anyways, random facts. Okay. And I guess the story of me figuring out that I was trans was one Halloween. I decided that me and my girlfriend at the time and my dogs and my best friend were all going to dress up as the Flintstones. And so I was going to be Fred, and my girlfriend at the time was Wilma, and the two dogs that I had at the time were both Dino, and then my best friend was Barney Rubble. And in order to make the costume more convincing, I binded. And then, you know, when I went out in public that day, because I had been in a pretty deep depression and hadn't been able to actually go to class, I couldn't get my butt off the couch. And I went out that day and I felt like, oh my god, people aren't staring at me, like, this is awesome. And really, they probably were staring at me more because I was in a Fred Flintstone costume at college. Like, a lot of people didn't dress up at the college I went to, so they were probably staring at me more. And all the people, I went to a really small section of the school because I was in music school. So a lot of people were like, where did your boobs go? Like, they were probably staring at me a lot more, but I felt so much more confident. And then from there, it sort of spiraled into a really intense 2-month more depression of me denying as much as possible because there's no way I could be transgender. I can't change sexes. That's completely ridiculous. Like, that I, like, couldn't, like, even wrap my head around it. And, finally I did and realized that I wanted to live. And if I wanted to live, this was the only way that I was going to actually be able to continue living. So anyway, sorry, that was a really long, random story. Do you worry if your singing voice will be affected by tea? Yes. That's the long, no, that's the short answer. The long answer is yes, I worry about that a lot. Because your voice is going through menopause and boy puberty at the same time. And not only boy puberty, it's going through accelerated boy puberty, but the most complicated part of this is the menopause. Because when your chords come together, they come together at 1,000 times per second. So imagine that singing, that's a lot of times in a minute that your vocal folds come together. And menopause makes them rough, so they don't come together very cleanly. I can't make my hands rough, otherwise I would show that. But anyways, they don't come together smoothly, so air escapes and it sounds raspy. And actually, you can actually hear that in my voice right now. The little, like, roughness. It's because I'm not trying to lower my voice. I've been trying to lower my voice for so many years now that this is just its resting place. And I'm currently working on not letting it vocal fry, which that's what this is doing right now. And it's very subtle, because I'm getting better at it, but it is still there. But anyways, that happens, and then on top of that, boy puberty, because my female vocal cords are already solidified. They were already done growing, done changing. So the material, whatever. Anyways, what the cartilage that they're made of is solidified a bit more than what it used to be. So it's a little bit harder to move. And now they're getting pulled apart because they're growing. The larynx is moving down. That's what makes the Adam's apple come down and be more present. That's what makes it be bigger, because that's what makes your neck be bigger, because everything's moving. And so everything's shifting down and growing outward. And in that process, it's ripping your vocal cords. And when you, this is a very long answer and I apologize. Anyways, it rips them and then it doesn't allow them enough time to heal until it rips them again. So you end up having a lot of scar tissue, which makes your cords even thicker and more rough around the edges. And so, which is why I'm on a lower dose of testosterone, so to prevent that from happening as much, because it's going to happen, it's inevitable, it is what it is. But I'm hoping that it doesn't happen as much, and that it happens at a slower rate, so that way I can save my voice. But because I already had a hysterectomy, and because my female organs were not working properly, which is why I had the hysterectomy, they pretty much were dead before I started testosterone. So I have mostly already gone through most of menopause. Mostly already gone through most. Ignore that, sorry. Anyways, so I've been through most of menopause. And so the transitions are happening just enough apart from each other that I think that it'll make it even smoother, which is only going to be better for my voice in the end. Anyway, sorry, that was a really long explanation. Part 2 of this video will be the next 10 questions. They're a little bit less invasive. Well, not invasive, good lord. A little bit less long answered. So I'll put that up in a little bit. And it won't hopefully be 10 minutes. Alright, bye.